This is the recipe that I'll be using to make the peanut butter cookies in this video. You can pause this video and take a screenshot to get a copy of the recipe. We're going to make peanut butter cookies using shortening, peanut butter, sugar, light brown sugar, vanilla extract, eggs, self-rising flour, and parchment paper. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees. If you don't cook much, these Crisco sticks are very handy. You don't have to put it in a measuring cup. You just need 1/2 cup, slice it there. One-third cup of peanut butter. Rubber scrapers are our friends. One-half cup of sugar. Be sure to pack the brown sugar. Cup brown sugar. In a large bowl, we're going to put the shortening, peanut butter, and the sugars. I'm going to cream that. The purpose of creaming when you're baking cookies and cakes and things like that is to dissolve all of the sugars and to all of the fats. That's going to take the most mixing. Ideally, after a successful creaming, you shouldn't be able to feel the grittiness or the texture of the sugars and the fats. It shouldn't feel like there's sand in there. Rubber scrapers are a friend. Stop creaming and remove the electric mixer from the bowl. Use a rubber scraper to scrape down the sides, down towards the center of the bowl, and then do a little bit more of the creaming to dissolve all of the fats and the sugar. Never stick the rubber scraper or a spoon or anything in while the mixer is going. That's quite dangerous. The electric mixer will win that battle. Add 1 egg, 1/2 teaspoon vanilla. Take the edge of the vanilla. You really should measure this over the bowl. I'm going to be very careful. Take the edge of it, actually make it touch, and just tilt. Vanilla. We have now added our liquids, our egg and our vanilla. We want to mix these together before we add our flour. Once we add our flour, we don't want to do a lot of mixing because that would overly develop the gluten and make the cookies tough. 1.5 cup of flour. Now that we've added the flour, we're going to use the electric mixer on the lowest speed and very carefully try to combine the flour with the other ingredients. If we started the mixer on the high speed, it would sling flour out of the bowl all over the counters and probably ourselves, making a huge mess we would have to clean up. As the flour gets combined with the more liquid ingredients, it's fine to cut the speed up on the electric mixer. You'll also need to stop the electric mixer at some point, remove it from the bowl, use the scraper to scrape down the sides, and then remix. You want to make sure that everything's exactly the same color. When the dough is fully combined, it should look like Play-Doh. It shouldn't stick to your hands. Instead of greasing the pans, we're going to use parchment paper because it keeps the cookies from sticking to the baking pan and it makes cleanup a lot easier. Put parchment paper on there so it doesn't curl up on the edges. Go down. Trim off any that hangs over the edge of the pan. Use clean hands, a spoon, scoop up some dough. Place on there. The recipe calls for using a very small spoon to make the cookies, so it makes a lot of cookies. I don't like mine that small, so I'm using a larger spoon. Make yours the same size so that they bake evenly. Don't let the cookies get too brown or they'll be crunchy and have a burnt taste. Remember, if you make them larger, it's going to take them a little bit longer to cook. Get them all rolled out on the parchment paper. If you see one that's particularly small, you can put it in the middle. Put the larger ones on the outside edge because they're probably going to cook a little bit faster. To make the design, take a fork. If you don't want the crisscross design using the fork, you can use the bottom of a glass or anything flat and just flatten the cookies out, or you can actually just press them flat with your hand. The dough should be the consistency of Play-Doh when you're making it. It didn't stick to my hand, it just left like a little bit of oily sheen on my hand. In the oven, I'm going to have to cook mine a little bit longer since I made mine larger. I set the timer for 10 minutes because I can always cook them longer, but I can't cook them less time. When they're brown enough for you, take them out. Because I made them this size, I cooked them 15 minutes. I'm going to let them cool because I don't have any wire curling racks. But if you do have wire curling racks, take them off, let them cool, and enjoy. These are going to be rather chewy because I made them so large. If you like crunchier ones, you can make them thinner, press them down a little bit harder. You can use the bottom of a glass to mash them flat. Just be creative. Enjoy.